You ever spend years trying to learn a language in school, only to find yourself totally tongue-tied when you actually try to order a coffee? Yeah, it's a super common frustration. But what if I told you it's not your fault? Today, we're going to dig into why the old ways of learning just don't work and uncover a method that actually gets you speaking fluently.
Okay, so let's just jump right in and tackle the biggest myth in language learning, right? The one we've all heard a million times, that kids are just these magical language sponges. And once you're an adult, well, good luck. But is that actually true?
I mean, this quote just nails that feeling, doesn't it? It's so frustrating. You spend all this time with textbooks and vocabulary lists, and then this little 5-year-old comes along who's never even heard of a grammar rule, and she's speaking perfect French. It just feels completely unfair.
But here's the twist. Here's what's really going on. We're not comparing the same thing at all. That 5-year-old, she's been swimming in French for something like 15,000 hours. The typical language student, maybe 200 hours. So the problem isn't our adult brains, it's this gigantic gap in sheer exposure.
And get this is the crucial part. When you actually make the exposure time equal, adults are not just better, they're faster language learners than kids. It makes sense, right? We're smarter, we can grasp abstract ideas like grammar, and we've already learned how to learn. Our adult brain is actually a superpower, not a handicap.
So this brings us right to the heart of the matter. If it's not about our age, and it's not about some innate ability, then the real reason so many of us struggle and fail is pretty simple. The methods we're taught are just fundamentally broken.
And I mean, just look at this track record. 7 years of Hebrew classes to learn the alphabet, over 5 years of Russian to learn about 40 words. That's not a lack of trying, that is a catastrophic failure of the traditional classroom system.
So, where does it all go so wrong? Well, believe it or not, the problem lies with the one tool everybody uses, the one thing that seems so logical but is actually poisoning our memory: translation. You know the drill. We spend hours and hours with flashcards, just drilling these abstract pairs. Shot equals cat, Paro equals dog. But to our brains, this is just a random disconnected fact. It's like trying to build a wall with sand. It creates a super brittle memory that just crumbles the second you actually need it.
To really feel the difference, let's do a little experiment. On the left, you've got the Hungarian word for camera, fényképezőgép. You've seen it, and I'm willing to bet you've already forgotten it. Now, on the right, there's a word you don't know yet, Moktor. But trust me, you're about to learn it in a way you will literally never forget.
Okay, so now we're going to see exactly how our brains are actually built to create memories that are rock solid, that last forever. And it has nothing to do with repetition and everything to do with experience.
I want you to picture this, okay? You're in some grimy bar somewhere in Scandinavia. A giant, red-bearded bartender who looks like a legit Viking gives you this deeply unsettling smile. He pulls out a bottle, and you can see the letters on the label, M-O-K-T-O-R. And he starts pouring this thick, gross, yellowish-green liquid into shot glasses.
And then it gets worse. He pulls out a jar of something and he starts spooning it into the shots. And the smell hits you. It's rotting fish. Moktor, he says with that same creepy smile. And you notice the other grizzled patrons in the bar? They're all turning to stare at you and they're laughing.
Just when you think it can't get any more bizarre, he pulls out a match, strikes it, and lights all 3 shots on fire. You just see these blue flames dancing on top of that nasty green liquid.
And now the entire bar starts chanting. It starts quiet, then gets louder and louder. Moktor! 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 Your crazy friend grabs his shot, yells Moktor, and downs it. The Viking bartender does the same. And now, total silence. Everyone is staring right at you.
See? You are never, ever going to forget the word Moktor. But why? Because you didn't just memorize a translation, you lived it. You have the sound of the chanting, the image of the Viking, the smell of the fish, the emotions of fear and disgust and excitement. It wasn't a fact, it was a story.
And that is the secret. Strong memories aren't like little files you store in one drawer of your brain. They are webs. They are rich, interconnected networks that link the parts of your brain for sound, sight, smell, and emotion. That Hungarian word, fényképezőgép, it was a tiny, isolated island. Moktor is a sprawling, unforgettable city.
So, the big question is, how do we actually use this? How do we hack our own memory to create these strong connections on purpose?
Let's break down a really practical system you can use to learn any language, even if you only have an hour a day.
It's really just 3 simple steps. First, use a spaced repetition app. They're amazing. But here's the key. No translations. Ditch them. Second, you connect words directly to pictures. So you don't learn chant equals dog. You go to Google Images, type in chant, and see all the cute, fluffy, very French-looking dogs that pop up. Third, you learn grammar not as a bunch of boring rules, but through simple stories where you have to fill in the blanks.
Okay, but does this whole thing actually work in the real world? Well, let's look at this wild challenge. Someone deliberately cheats on a French placement test, gets put in a class that's way over their head. So the challenge is set. Can they become conversational in just 3 months before a scary 15-minute interview to prove they belong?
And the result? After that 15-minute conversation, the very first real French conversation of this person's life, the teacher was so impressed that she didn't just keep him in the intermediate class, she moved him up to the advanced level. I mean, come on.
Just let that sink in for a second. Years of the old method gets you 40 words of Russian. 3 months of this new method gets you into an advanced French class. And from there, it took just 7 more weeks to reach full fluency. The difference is it's night and day.
So let's bring it all home with the single most important message of all of this. This is not about having a special language gene. It's not a talent you're born with. It's a skill, and it's a system that absolutely anyone can use.
The real key is to stop treating language like it's some dead thing in a textbook. You have to bring it to life. Every single word needs a connection, a sound, an image, a feeling. Grammar shouldn't be rules to memorize. It should be a tool that helps you tell your own story. You already have everything you need to do this right inside your head.
You know, learning a new language really does open up a whole new world, a new way to see things, a new way to connect with people. So this is a skill you can learn. The only real question left to ask is, what amazing new stories will you learn how to tell?